Welcome to Lesson 5.2, Order of Operations, Decimals, and Fractions, three core math concepts that appear repeatedly on the TEAS test. To solve math problems the right way, there's an order you need to follow, and it's called PEMDAS. P stands for parentheses, E is for exponents, M and D are multiplication and division, done left to right. A and S are addition and subtraction, also done left to right. Let's try an example. 8 plus 2 times open parentheses, 3 plus 1 close parentheses. Step 1. Do what's inside the parentheses. 3 plus 1 equals 4. Step 2. Multiply. 2 times 4 equals 8. Step 3. Add. 8 plus 8 equals 16. So the correct answer is 16. Here's your TEAS tip. Even if your math is perfect, doing steps out of order will give you the wrong answer. Always follow PEMDAS, especially parentheses and exponents first, then go left to right. Let's talk decimals, something you'll definitely see on the TEAS. Decimals appear in real-life contexts like money, medication dosages, and measurements. So the TEAS includes questions that require you to add, subtract, multiply, or divide them. First, when it comes to adding or subtracting decimals, always line up the decimal points. Then, just add or subtract as you normally would. Finally, drop the decimal straight down into your answer. For example, 3.75 plus 0.6 becomes 3.75 plus 0.60 equals 4.35. Next, let's look at multiplying decimals. To start, ignore the decimals while multiplying. After you multiply, count the total number of decimal places in the original numbers. Then, place the decimal in the answer to match. For instance, 0.2 times 0.4, 2 times 4 equals 8. There are 2 decimal places total, so the final answer is 0.08. Now, when it comes to dividing decimals, here's what you do. If you're dividing by a decimal, move the decimal point to the right until it becomes a whole number. Then, move the decimal in the dividend the same number of places. Now, just divide as usual. Example, 0.6 divided by 0.2. Move the decimals 2. It becomes 6 divided by 2, and the answer is 3. TEAS tip. Decimal problems are often simple if you stay organized and pay close attention to decimal placement. You'll be in great shape. Next up, fractions. These show up a lot on the TEAS, especially in measurement and dosage type problems. You'll need to know how to simplify, operate, and convert them with confidence. First, let's talk about simplifying fractions. All you have to do is divide both the top and bottom by their greatest common factor. Example, 6/8 becomes 3/4 when you divide both numbers by 2. Now for adding or subtracting fractions, the golden rule is you must have a common denominator. If the denominators are the same, it's easy. 1/4 plus 2/4 equals 3/4, but if they're different, like 1/3 plus 1/6, you need to find a common denominator. 1/3 becomes 2/6, so 2/6 plus 1/6 equals 3/6, which simplifies to 1/2. Moving on, let's cover multiplying fractions. Just multiply straight across, top times top, bottom times bottom. Example, 2/3 times 3/4 equals 6/12, which simplifies to 1/2. Then, for dividing fractions, here's the trick. Flip the second fraction, change the division sign to multiplication, then multiply normally. Example, 1/2 divided by 3/4 becomes 1/2 times 4/3. Multiply that out and simplify. 4/6 becomes 2/3. TEAS tip. Fraction division is one of the most tested operations, especially in dosage or measurement questions. So practice that flip and multiply method until it's second nature. Now, let's move on to something you'll definitely see on the TEAS, converting between fractions and decimals. First, If you're converting a fraction into a decimal, just divide the numerator by the denominator. Example, 3/4 becomes 0.75. That's 3 divided by 4 equals 0.75. Now, to convert a decimal into a fraction, here's the process. Count how many digits come after the decimal point, then write the number as a fraction over 10, 100, or 1,000, depending on the decimal places. Finally, simplify. Example, 0.25 has 2 decimal places, so write it as 25 over 100. Simplify that, and you get 1/4. TEAS tip. You'll often be asked to compare a decimal to a fraction, so being able to switch between them quickly helps you figure out which is larger and get the right answer. Let's quickly review what you need to lock in from this lesson. First, PEMDAS is the correct order to solve math expressions: parentheses, exponents, then multiplication or division left to right, then addition and subtraction. Next, when adding or subtracting decimals, line up the decimal points. Then, when multiplying or dividing decimals, be precise with decimal placement. Also, add or subtract fractions only with a common denominator. Multiply and divide them directly. Finally, always simplify fractions and know how to convert between fractions and decimals. This is a skill that comes up often, especially when comparing values on the TEAS. You've got this, let's move on.